Happy Sunday, Elevate. Do you even remember what day it is anymore? Because I'm having a hard time remembering what day it is. But I hope that you guys are able to join us in the ways that we're trying to keep us all connected during this time where we cannot actually be together. So make sure and join us tonight on Elevate Zoom. The link will be sent out to you. Join us there. That starts at 6 p.m. Ladies, tomorrow, Monday at 11:30, we're having ladies lunch on Zoom. That'll be sent out to you as well. And then we're going to be starting on Wednesdays having Elevate Connect, where it's going to be some of the games that we had this past Thursday and discussion and things like that, where girls rule and boys drool. The girls totally won, guys, just so you know. So what I want to talk about first is I want to ask you, how many of you have watched more than 5 movies during this time when you cannot stay at home? I can't see you right now, but you're going to tell me tonight. How many of you have watched Frozen 2? Now, I know that we had this as a movie night, but if you weren't there, probably some of your siblings have made you watch it while you've been home. If you remember in Frozen 2, especially if you've seen it 7 bajillion times, you will remember that Elsa decides to take off to find Ahtohallan all by herself, which leaves Anna and Olaf all by themselves in a dark cave, and there's a song that happens, and there's this moment that happens. But what we really can see here is that Anna and Olaf are in a new place. And just like you and I, we are in a new place, a new time of life that we are not used to. And we have questions and we have concerns, and things look very, very different. So tonight I'm going to talk about a man named Daniel in the Bible who faced a situation not exactly like what we're facing now, but he was thrown into a new environment, into a new way of living that was different than what he was used to. And he still chose to honor God in that. So there was this bad guy named King Nebuchadnezzar. Say that 5 times. He was an evil king, and he destroyed all of Jerusalem. He destroyed their temples and on and on and on. And to make a very long story short, he also decided to destroy their future. So he asked his leaders to go and take captive all of the smartest, finest, brightest, best looking men and bring them to him. So like I said, he asked them to go collect these people, basically, so that he could have the best of the best of the best, and he was going to indoctrinate them into the Babylonian culture so that he could have them as leaders. And we're going to pick this up in Daniel 1 verse 3, where it says, actually verse 4, young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well-informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. Those are the types of men that he was looking for. He goes on to say the king assigned them a daily amount of food and wine from the king's table. They were to be trained for 3 years, and after that, they would enter into the king's service. So Daniel and his friends are taken into captivity into a culture that they're not familiar with, and they are being taught and trained and told to live a certain way. So they're going to be learning to walk a certain way, they're going to be learning to talk a certain way, and they're going to learn to eat certain things to become the way that King Nebuchadnezzar wants them to become. And I don't know about you, but it's a good thing that that never happens today. That we get thrown into a culture where people want us to act a certain way, people want us to watch certain things, people want us to listen to certain things. Good thing that never happens today, right? Yeah. So here we are, and Daniel and his friends and all the other people that were taken into captivity have a decision to make. Are they going to allow this culture to affect them and this culture to influence who they become, or are they going to continue to follow God? Now, little fun fact, these guys were teenagers, just like you all, okay? And they were taken into captivity and thrown into a life that they had never known before. Are you experiencing life right now like you've never known it before? I don't know about you, but I am. And they had to choose to still follow God as they were being thrown into this new life. The story goes on to show you that Daniel stands up and chooses to follow God and chooses to not defile himself. And I would encourage you to go read the rest of the story if you haven't. But think about this. Do you think they were anxious? Do you think they were scared? Do you think they were confused being put in a new situation that they'd never experienced before? Do you think they were worried about what their friends were doing? Do you think they were wondering what decisions their friends were making? The answer is probably yes, just like maybe what you're feeling right now. And the thing is, the truth is that we all have emotions in this right now. And we all have a choice to be able to still follow God in the midst of those emotions and in the midst of the changing times. The reality is that we are all feeling something, and we are all in a world right now that is literally changing by the day. So the idea is not, do we have these emotions? The critical thought here is, what do we do with these emotions? And if you read the Bible, you will see that Jesus had a lot of emotions. Paul tells us this in Romans. He tells us to rejoice with those who are rejoicing and weep with those who are weeping. And there are several things going on here in this verse. The first thing he's showing us in this verse is that there is a wide variety of emotions. There's happiness here, there's joy here, there's also sadness, and there's weeping, and there's disappointment. There's a gamut of emotions. But the second part shows us this. He tells us to do it together. Okay? Be happy together, be sad together. And we are wired for connection and wired for doing life together. So this is the challenge when we cannot be actually together. And that's what's hard about this right now, is that we're supposed to be socially isolating, right? And we're supposed to be doing life together. And there will be moments where you will feel okay. And in those moments where you're good, I encourage you to check in with somebody who might not be okay that day. And when you are not okay on a certain day, call us, call your leaders, call someone. There are tons of ways that you can stay connected virtually, whether it's via Zoom or Hangouts or texting or FaceTime or whatever it is that you're using. We need to stay connected. It says, be happy when other people are happy and weep with them when they are weeping. And here's the thing about Daniel, is when his situation changed, the fact that he followed God didn't change. And just because your situation has changed and you could be a homeschooler for the remainder of the year, who knows at this point, your ability to follow God does not have to change in that. You can still be a light and you can stand out and be an example in this time. Maybe you're having your FaceTime with one of your friends and everything they say is negative and everything they say is just bad. You can choose to stand up and be a light. You can choose to be Jesus to them. You can choose to stand out in a time where nothing looks the same, just like Daniel did. And that is hard sometimes, right? Because we have emotions and we have different feelings about it. But just like Daniel did, you can stand out in a time that looks nothing like what you are used to. You can still follow God. In fact, He wants to use you specifically during this time to stand out for Him, to follow Him, which means getting in your word, which means making sure you're praying, which means making sure you are checking on your friends, checking on your family, thinking outside of yourself and the schedule that you now have. We can be just like Daniel during this time and choose to follow God during a time that is unfamiliar to us. The reality is, even if we don't know what is coming next, we can still be people who are filled with joy, who are filled with hope, who offer love in our circles of friends that we communicate with every single day. Maybe you can share some toilet paper with somebody who needs it. I don't know. Just be Jesus. Just love people. Be full of joy and be full of hope. And if you need to talk through what that means, please call me. Please call one of our leaders so we can be there for you guys. You all are awesome. We believe in you. God's going to do something big in this time, and I want to encourage you and challenge you to seek Him out more than ever before during this time, and we will see you tonight.